And hello YouTube, this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'm today with a brand new video for tutorials of GS. Today's tutorial we're focusing on Photoshop and teaching you another cool effect for your images, for your photography, for your art. And this is the double exposure effect, also known as the images that you see where you see two pictures within one another. One of them will have a higher opacity, or you'll see one of the images inside of another image. There's plenty of examples if you Google double exposure. But we're going to be teaching you how to actually create this effect and how to edit some of the parameters so that you can customize it to your liking. Now essentially we have two images here, and we're basically going to be placing this image into this image to create our double exposure effect. So the first thing you want to do is obviously gather two images that could fit very well, and you're going to open up your first one and you'll have it in this window here. Next thing you want to do is open your second image, and I would highly recommend that you have the images about the same size. If you have one image that's a lower resolution than the other, then your image may be very pixelized when you enlarge it, or the effect may come out pretty weird. Another thing you can do instead is find a silhouette of an image. For example, if you wanted to find a silhouette of this right here, then it would only be a sort of the subject of the image would be black, would be very dark, and you would have barely a noticeable background. However, you could do this with silhouettes or with regular images like this too. So you can find them off of Google, or you can even create silhouette images on your own by taking a picture with the sun in front of you. That way you have the shadow. So what we want to do next here is just go ahead and use your move tool and just drag this image into the first image, and all you have to do is just grab this move tool and drag it up here and you'll get it. So now that we have that, if your image tends to be a little smaller than the background here, since this is going to be your foreground image and here we have your background image, what you can do is enlarge the foreground very easily by going up to edit and then going to transform, scale, and you want to keep your aspect ratios the same. So hold down the shift key and then you can start enlarging this or making it smaller. And a good habit to get into is to sort of make sure you have a little bit of the image peeking out. You can make it perfect if you want, since Photoshop allows for that, but I just tend to get into the habit to do this. And if for some reason Photoshop is clipping to the ends of the image, as you see right here, it's basically clipping to the ends, you can simply hold Control and then you could freely move it around without any clippings. So this is what we have right here, and the next thing you want to do is go ahead and have this top layer selected and change your layer mode right here to screen. Where do we have screen here? There's screen. Now a lot of times it could be as simple as this and you could be done with it already. Another thing you could also mess around with is with the opacity right here. You can change the opacity here, and you can make some really cool double exposure effects here just by screwing around with the opacity and placing the screen mode on here. And this actually looks pretty good. However, if you want to get more advanced, what you can also do, instead of just fooling around with the opacity, you can go ahead and create a new adjustment layer. So I'm going to go up to layer over here, new adjustment layer, and you can alter the curves here. You can just leave your settings the same here. And now these curves will basically adjust the brightness, contrast, how much white, how much black, darkness, how many levels of bright, dark you have. And as you see here, you have several other things you can alter, such as different color channels, blue, green, and red, to add more of a certain color, or to just stay on the RGB. So there's no real guidelines or rules to this. You sort of just, play around with some of the curves, see what looks good. A lot of times that's just the key here. and until you see something that you like. If you ever mess up, you can always press, I believe it's Control Z, or you can just move the little icons back to the middle. But we're gonna go ahead and see what we can do here. Another thing you can do is, as you see here, when you're doing curves right here, this effect is being applied to all of your layers underneath it. If you only wanted to affect the background layer, which is probably what I should have done in the very beginning, you go ahead and go back to New Adjustment Layer, Curves, and then you're going to add a clipping mask, which is this button right here. And this will basically only affect the background layer here. And as you can see, now only our background layer is being affected. And we can create some pretty cool stuff. I mean, look at this, looks pretty cool. But just like that. And that's basically how you create your double exposure. It's really a matter of just playing around with the settings. If we had a silhouette of this image, you could even create something that doesn't have these walls in the background. It's not one of the best pictures to use, but it's definitely an example of double exposure right here. Simply just messing around with the curves. You can also, like I said, play around with different color channels, as we had, like over here. Perhaps you want to add more blue to your image, and you could do that as well. If you wanted to add more blue to it, this is great to add some colorization to it. And you don't only need to use your curves layers. You can even use different adjustment layers, such as brightness and contrast. Hue saturation is also very good to use here, to give your photo a certain tint. But that's pretty much it. Several different combinations you could do. It really depends on the picture type you have, because some pictures will not match very well. But I do recommend getting a background, that's not too abstract. That's pretty, it has a base color. Like this one is mostly just purple, mostly just blue, mostly just dark colors. If you get something that's a bit more abstract and has a lot of colors into it, then you're not going to be really able to see your foreground image here. But it's really just a matter of playing around with different settings. You can also try using different layer modes here as well. For example, if we go on soft light, you can create an effect like this, which also looks pretty good. Or we can even go on an effect such as hard light, and we get that. Also another cool little effect. But screen, hard light, soft light, those are some good ones. Overlay may work as well. So playing around with the layer mode, curves, and some of these adjustment layers, that's the main key in creating this. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, then why does this keep popping up? If you have any questions or comments, definitely leave in the comments below, and I'll answer as soon as possible. We have plenty more Photoshop tutorials coming up, and we also have already some other Photoshop tutorials on the channel. If you want to check those out, it'd be great. And until next time, guys. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video helped you out in any way. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It'll really help me out. If you didn't like it, you can leave a comment as well, giving some feedback. If you have any other comments or questions, please leave them in the comments as well, and I'll do my best to answer them. I usually respond to comments within 24 to 48 hours, depending on your question and depending on how busy I am. I have plenty of other content on my channel about different software tutorials and how-to videos, so if you're interested in that type of stuff, check it out. And if you like what you're seeing, you can subscribe too. Really appreciate it. You can also check out my other channels and social media as shown on the screen right now. And with that, thank you so much, everyone. And this is GSmaniamsmart, and I'll be back sooner than you think. Don't go anywhere.